Hi all backers, sorry for the delay. This is the new case, plastic case that came out of the mold injection factory. So this is basically close to final production prototype and just showing you the latest firmware on the code for the Solderdoodle for the touch interface. So you basically swipe up to increase your power level. And you can also swipe down. Just to do a quick test, I'm going to go to maximum power for cutting plastic. So go ahead and do that. And it turns red, showing you that it's heating up. And it should take a little while just because this is this particular cutting tool is a little bit has a lot of mass, so it takes a while to heat up, but you can see it's already cutting. And this speed of cutting is actually twice as fast as the original Solderdoodle. And I'm cutting through ABS plastic right now. And then now I'm going to do a quick demonstration of just soldering two wires together. So go ahead and put on the conical soldering tip. I'm actually going to bring this down to maybe halfway. Go ahead and solder. I'll just show you how fast it heats up. If you need a little bit more power, just boost it up a little bit. Right now I'm doing a lead-free solder, so it takes a little bit more power. If you're doing leaded solder, it would take probably 50% power. Just going to put a nice big thick ball of solder on there. And I don't know if you noticed, but we got the warning light indicators. That tells you that the battery is low. You can still continue to use it. However, once the battery is completely drained, the red lights will start flashing, and that tells you it's completely, when the red lights flash, that tells you it's completely drained and you cannot use it. And you need to recharge it in order to bring it back up to power. Now let me show you another mode that we have in here. It's called Pro mode. So if you continue to swipe, you can see the yellow lights start to turn on. And what that is, you have to swipe a couple times to get into what we call Pro mode. Pro mode has these orange lights, and when the orange lights are fully on, that means that it is basically 100% duty cycle. And why it's called Pro mode is because it's for very thick wire, up to like 12 gauge wire. 14-12 gauge is kind of what this mode's for. So it's not for everybody. It's for automotive applications like heavy thick gauge speaker wire, thick like industrial applications, where you actually want quick as possible heat up time, but you also have to keep contact with the wire. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now. You wouldn't use it for this thin of a gauge wire, but I'm just showing like this is for doing almost like, you know, you want this to heat up in like less than 10 seconds. The problem with that quick of a heat up is that if you do not have any solder attached to the tip while you're in Pro mode, there is a chance that the heating element will overheat. That is the only way to get this quick, fast speed up time. Now professionals know this, so they are willing to take that risk in order to have a quick speed up time, less than 10 seconds heat up time with a portable battery powered soldering iron. For people who aren't professionals, who understand that limitation and are actually very good to get their solder joints done in, you know, that quick amount of time, you know, 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds max kind of soldering, that's not a problem. If you're a beginner, you don't want to be in pro mode, so to get out of it, you just swipe down. Now you're back in normal mode, and you can then adjust the power as you wish, up and down. And this is a completely safe mode when it's just in regular mode, and that means you can even have the heating element just completely like with no solder on, and you're not going to burn the heating element. So again, the pro mode, you can only get to it by swiping a couple times past the last full power mode, and then you go again, and you have to swipe a couple times. The reason is that it's sort of a preventative kind of a lockout. If you don't swipe a couple times in quick succession, it will actually kick you out and bring you back into normal mode. This is so that you don't inadvertently go into pro mode accidentally, and it's also a reminder of that pro mode is basically for only soldering with a conical or chisel tip or sharp tip for very thick wire, 12 gauge, 14 gauge. You do not want to use the other tips like this cutting tip, this knife blade tip in pro mode. Do not use, pro mode is only for soldering thick wire, 12 gauge, 14 gauge. And that's about it. We've updated the case, and we've updated the firmware, and so it's looking like it's making great progress, and I hope you guys like it. There has been a slight delay due to some trade war issues, but we've managed to overcome that, and these should be probably a month delay in shipping everything out, but it should be ready to ship after I get feedback to the manufacturer, and then they will go into full production. Thank you for your support, and again, this would not be possible without backers, Kickstarter backers, so thank you, and I hope to get this out to you guys as soon as possible.